always nice to get that driver's license out of the way.
Yeah, I've been trying. Yeah. So if you could put a positive thought out there that I pass tomorrow, would be greatly appreciated.
All right, posy thoughts
Being
for
my
Andy.
thoughts.
GMing you good vibes. Is that a verb now? GMing?
Yes, it is. I've looked
I
it
like
up.
it.
I just checked my Neuralink and it confirms.
Can you use it as an adjective and adverb as well? We had this meeting GMily. I feel like that's a step too far, or maybe not. Maybe it's not far enough. All right, let's start in on this weekly all hands meeting. In case you don't know, this is the Bankless Card all-team tactical meeting. We use this time to sync up on work that's going on around our organization, and we try to prioritize the work and eliminate the blockers. Took attendance already. There is quite a difference in this template. I started changing things. And last night, I don't know, maybe I was tired, but I was just going around in circles. I wasn't able to figure out what I liked. I started writing stuff down, but I would love if you're able to give me some feedback. In fact, I'm going to be soliciting feedback as we go. There is a discussion item on the goals for the season, which is really linked to our tactical format as well. So we will talk about it as we go. Just FYI, if there's some hiccups in the meeting, it's because we are changing our focus, or at least refining our focus, and I would love to hear what you have to say as we go. So we were talking about lag metrics and lead metrics. Lag metrics, this is what we're trying to achieve, but they may not change on a week-to-week basis. Now, I put pre-launch emails here as well, even though I hope that they change on a week-to-week basis. Community sign up for campaigns. I kind of made this a little bit more general, NF Thinker, and app usage. So from this could be either Hazu or myself. Another one that I was thinking of is like secured money for the POC, the proof of concept. Anyways, this is something that I was thinking about, and my kind of idea was that anyone who is like currently a workstream lead, or like, you know, we kind of asked that question, have you spent 5 hours a week on Bankless Card? My intent is that every single one of those persons should have a metric that they are reporting on a weekly basis. But I think it brought up a great point last week, in that, like, okay, if these metrics don't change week over week, maybe it's going to be demoralizing. So I had this section on lead metrics as well, which I didn't fill in because I wasn't quite sure. Before we go any further, does this make sense to people, what I'm talking about? Instead of having our top level metrics, I broke it down into lag metrics and lead metrics. I don't know. This is one of the things that I was wondering about. Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it's actually a great idea. The fact that we're splitting this up, like NF said last week, about the whole morale and all of that. So having this lag and lead does make sense. So I'm in support of this.
Thanks, Winverse. Anyone else have any opinions on this? I know maybe you have to think about it. Give a few minutes for thoughts, but we do have a discussion item about this, so I'll keep going down to my announcements. We'll chat about lag and lead metrics a little bit later. I didn't get the payroll done last week. I'm going to do my best this week. This will include the recording that Winverse and Tundi Turner have been doing, and as well some of the partnership work that Lord Elvick has been doing for us. I'm going to be away on August 23rd. Actually, I'll be away for that week camping. Anyone available to cover the all hands for me?
I'm not, but I'm also going to be camping, so I just want to say camping strong.
Nice, yes, camping strong. I'll be in the Pinery if you're in the area.
Yeah, we're down at Port Burwell on Lake Erie. That's actually our annual anniversary camping trip.
Oh, amazing! Nice, that sounds great. Anyone else able to do the all hands on August 23rd? We could also just take the week off. Okay. Well, if anyone,
Sorry, I'm just checking in the calendar right now. I was on mute. On the 23rd, I should. Let me just double check there. Seems okay for me. I can run that.
all right, great. Thanks a lot. I think I appreciate it. All right, new member intros. No one today. Milestone perspective. Again, this will change, and I want to talk about our updated milestones. This was one of the things that I was running in circles on, so I could really use some outside perspective that is your perspective. But for now, we'll use the old ones. How will we finance the building of this project? Figuring out how much we need. So basically, I am going after some of these partners that Lord Elvic has introduced us to. These are US-based partners, and we do have the numbers from Gnosis Pay, but I need to put them in the financial docs. I did a back of the napkin calculation. It shows that we would need 50,000 for just their fees, so not including anything like software licenses, hosting, our time, anything like that. So that's kind of like a bare minimum baseline of what we need, 50,000 to run for 3,000 users for 5 months. We'd probably need more than that because we're going to be having to host something somewhere and we're going to be having to do certain things. But anyways, figuring out how much we need is kind of like my key activity right now. I have a follow-up meeting with Transcard tomorrow. This is probably the best bet in the US for us to launch something quick. So I have a meeting with them tomorrow where I will try to zero in on the numbers and figure out how much we'll need to launch a proof of concept. Now, what does that mean? You probably all know we need about 2 million to get us to self-sovereignty. A proof of concept will be a way for us to raise the rest of that 2 million. And we're looking at running something like a card program for, while we're still all potentially, only part-time on this, but running a card program for a very small select number of communities, maybe just one, and showing that it can be successful. So that's what we need for the proof of concept, and we're looking for, right now it's looking like we need at least 50K, but probably closer to 100K if we want to make this work for a couple months. So we'll see. Getting the funding, we're pushing SAFE and Gnosis OP on the grants programs. We submitted a SAFE expression of interest last week, and we contacted Dow Stewards, who said that they'd be happy to help us write these proposals to get the funding that we need. Crowdfund is up in the air. But Sana is updated with the start of this. It's still we kind of said last week or last couple of weeks that we're going to be acting like we're moving towards a crowdfund, because the things that we need to do for a crowdfund are the same things that we need to do to get things like private investment and grants and stuff like that. So what does that look like in Asana? Well, that's one of the things I want to talk to you about today. Hey, and I think I see that you unmuted. Oh, never mind.
I just muted and then said something. I said, "Oh, sorry, I forgot to put myself on mute." So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you don't have to put yourself on mute, but if you put yourself on unmute, it's a signal for me to say like, "Hey, it's time for you to talk." But what is the go-to-market strategy? Anna Thinker, while I have you on unmute, well, I guess you're muted now. Can you tell us a little bit about work on partnerships?
It is my time to talk. Yeah, so we've kind of established the fact that we need to partner with three to five organizations which have a high U.S. citizenship membership rate. So we need to establish who is most mission, vision, value aligned with us, and who can provide that size of community in the U.S. of affluent spenders who could create our first target market, who could help fulfill our proof of concept. So I have a few that I've been looking at. I really need to start a tracker. I've started playing with a CRM today, which might put me in the right direction there as far as tracking all these engagements. Up to now, we have a bunch of DAOs who exist within the Notion CRM tracker that have been tagged as potentials. And of those, I would say there are probably 5 in there that would be great. But then again, as we found out with ENS, not every community is the ideal partner for Bankless Card. And that's okay. We just need to find the ones who are most aligned with us. One of the leads that I'm looking into is Kraus House. They own an NBA team, they have the mission to own an NBA team. They own a Big Three team, which is the 3-on-3 basketball association that was started by Ice Cube and a bunch of other people, a bunch of ex-NBA players. And so I'm running an AMA with him and Jarrett James next Wednesday. So I'm going to try and create something there, see if we can explore that route. I feel like communities like LinksDAO would be a really good option. Those types of DAOs would hopefully be perfect if we can find people who would run monthly payments on this to help support their DAO. Then that would be great. That would be a perfect proof of concept. So with all that said, if anybody does have any leads in that sense, feel free to send them my way. And hopefully we can find 3 to 5 really strong partners and then figure out how we can also attract the SMDs that we've been discussing as well.
Mm-hmm. And just one note as well, Bankless DAO will be one of those partners. that one's decided.
That goes without saying. Yeah, that goes without saying. Of course. That is our proof of concept, but we need additional partners in order to make it work.
Agreed. All right. And how about on the communication side, Rainus?
Still the same as last week. We have a lot of content in the backlog. Me and Andy are filming new videos tomorrow for the articles that Fabian has prepared. We also have a few articles that I haven't posted yet, but I want to post this week because last week we finished up the Notice campaign. And now we have to keep people engaged from that wave of attention that we had. So we have the Gnosis Space CEO interview that I'm going to give to Vinverse to upload to our YouTube sometime. I think I'm going to do it today. Yeah, we have content in the backlog moving to the front. Still going. Emails, I'm not going up as fast as they did during the Gnosis campaign, but still going up. I don't know, all is well, I think. Still moving forward.
Awesome. One thing about Fabian's articles, I did edit them, and it seemed like they needed a lot of work, or it seems like they needed some work at least. Did you see the edits I made on them? I also posted them in Asana, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I saw that, but I did not interfere much with your guys' article work. So when they're ready, they're ready. But the content was a great idea source for Andy for short videos. So we're going to make those anyway.
Okay,
and we can.
That's a good idea.
We don't post the articles. It was a source of inspiration. Anyway,
I'll ask Fabian. If you get a chance.
I don't think he checked. I'm not very confident that he checks Asana. I think.
Okay. Well, I'll reach out to him later, or we can reach out to him at the communication meeting or something. Okay. Cool. Sounds good. And we have ETH Toronto and ETH Argentina coming up. So these are global events. All right. I need to get the cards printed for ETH Toronto. I'm actually running an event in ETH Toronto, and we had like a crazy amount of people kind of sign up right away. So I will probably need more cards than I originally thought.
Yes, that sounds great. Nice. What's the event? And
the event is, so I mean, like, I originally booked for 25 people, and like 42 people signed up in the first day. And it's just like an event. It's called like I'm working with Meme Brains, who is also a member of Bankless DAO and City DAO.
Yeah, he's a legend as well. So that's great.
Yeah, so he's so he what was I going to say about Meme Brain specifically? But the event is called Dow O'Clock or something. It's just like drinks after ETH Toronto one day on Tuesday next week.
Great.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, we ran a space together, and he turned it into a huge 10-page article. And yeah, he's really deep into DAOs. So, you know, he would also be a great person to discuss DAO partnerships with, I believe, because he does have a lot of connections, and he's always talking to, he's always talking to different DAO founders and contributors, etc. And he's
Good thought.
He seems to recall this stuff much quicker than I do. So, he'd be a great addition to our team if he was interested in joining.
Yeah, and I'll let you reach out to him then because, you know him and you're working on partnerships.
For sure. Yeah, I'll suggest that to him. And if he does join, he'll be able to get one of those brand spanking new contributor badges that Bobo has been working on.
Amazing. Oh, I haven't even seen those yet myself. All right. Which legal structure will we use? The Panama Foundation, they got back to us, our lawyers got back to us with the bylaws. I need to review them. It's a very time-consuming thing to review them, but we'll see. Hopefully I'll get it done by the end of this week, but I would say that I have some other more pressing things, including payroll. How can we make our system extremely easy to use? Well, Hazu's not here. Wanted to get some stuff going on the website, but I was not able to do it last week as I ended up having this 5-page sales deck, which I didn't think about. So hopefully this week I can work on that a little bit more. From a task perspective, let's open up our Asana board here. And at the top, we have our role salaries. It's the week 32. Role salaries, week 32. And it's in the inbox of the accounting section. So I did spend at least 5 hours a week. Not sure about Hazu. Regis and I think, did you spend at least 5 hours a week on Bankless Card?
Yep. Oh, I didn't mention me and NF started working on the user journeys.
Amazing.
We didn't get far because we both have no.
Was jetzt? No.
Yeah, I was writing journeys and I was like, did I miss?
Elisa. Huh? Oh my word.
Link to it in. It is out there. If anyone wants to give feedback on it, feel free. It is a little bit of a different look than what we did before. All right. So this was sent to Jack from B4U. He wants to set up a time to talk about it. So hopefully I will do that this week before I go on vacation. We shall see. That was something else. Origin Dollar DAO. I was talking to Origin Dollar DAO as potentially one of the partners because they did get us a ton of responses on our survey. And there are different use cases. I would say like Kraus DAO and Lynx DAO. Kraus House and Lynx DAO are kind of a similar use case. Everyone binding together to buy something interesting, a golf course or an NBA team, really interesting and captivating. They are kind of like a DeFi, which is like their scrappy little DeFi. Anyways, they did say that they had some grants as well. So I'm just going to put this into the ops workstream, and we will decide whether or not we're going to work on it or not. And I'll just remove it from all team projects for now. ETH Toronto, that's happening this week. Sorry, not happening this week, but I need to work on it this week because it starts next week. So I will work on getting those cards printed, and a thinker. Why does it say duplicate ETH Toronto? I don't know why.
Oh,
Anyways,
yeah. Sorry about that. I meant to say that. Links. That has been turned into a duplicate, and if you search Toronto, there is another template that's been made up. So I wasn't sure if you wanted to delete that or what to do with that old version.
Yeah, no problem. Let me add this to the all team projects. And here is a little fun thing you can do in Asana is you can mark as duplicate.
Okay.
Merge duplicate tasks. There you go.
Okay.
Toronto.
And then if you go into the subtasks, that's where the card has been uploaded.
Amazing. Okay, this week. So I'll take this, and the other one has been merged in. You can see right here, and I will put it on Mondays there. Oh, duplicate. No, wait, this isn't the one merged in here. Did it mark that one as completed? Yeah, okay, so closed it. All right, so here's the new one. It's this week. I need to add Monday onto it. And you said that in the subtasks, print cards is there, and that's where you put the thing?
No, it's in the one above. It's in the deliverable. So my task, create custom card with QR code.
Okay, so that's probably why I didn't see it.
That one's in the template, in the description. That will always be there. And then the comment down below will be the custom card template. Custom QR code. Okay, so you download that, print that. Yeah, that's the one you download and print.
So I guess I can both of them, but this one is pink and this one's blue.
Yeah, that's how we've been doing them. There are other colors. There's green. There's that teal blue.
I just thought it was supposed to be the same color, but if we're doing it two different colors, that works for me too.
Yeah,
all right,
yeah,
thanks, I appreciate it.
They look pretty good, to be honest. If I don't say so myself. Kudos to Hasu for creating all those color palettes. So that hopefully that's how that will work. We duplicate the template. It creates the subtasks. Rainus is attached to creating the landing page. I'm tasked with creating the card and then upload that. And then whoever's running the event is tasked with printing the cards and distributing the cards and accounting.
Okay. So apparently at ETH Argentina as well, there's something going on. I'll put it into this week because I feel like she said it was like relatively soon. But maybe you can use your template for this one too.
I thought Argentina was like November.
Was it? Okay. Well, then
maybe not. I don't know.
I'll just leave it here and we can see. We should add a date to it.
Yes.
But yeah, I guess that's ETH Argentina. ETH Argentina. Here we go.
Roll the R.
ETH 106, ETH Argentina. It doesn't say the date. Anyways, I will just ask Hazu to put that date in, and we shall see.
Sounds good.
Looking down, Ibanera. This is a partnership that we are currently working on. Transcard. The next one is for this Thursday. Ibanera. I need to follow up with them because they haven't really reached out to us since then. B4U. I need to create. So this is created. Next step. Book a meet with Jack for feedback. So we can also talk about this at the Ops Weekly. I'll leave it here for now. How crypto cards make money at Coffee Crusher. How is this going? All right, website V2. This is something that I wanted to get done last week. Not done, but at least some of the things worked on. Adding analytics, fixing the API key visibility, fixing some of the bugs that are on here. And then I will... these are all small tasks. I mean, I'm hoping I can get it done. One thing that I want to put up here as well is payroll. Payroll, and as well create compensation for weekly meeting recordings, create compensation for partnership work for Lord Elvic. Okay. Elvic. There we go. and I will work on that this week. Put it up there. I would say that the website is a little bit more important than that. Go-to-market strategy doc. Do you have any updates on this, Rainus?
It seems like our current strategy doc was sufficient and good from the opinion of Coffee Crusher. I mean, Coffee Crusher, you could come up and say if you have any comments about that. But she added to the document the initiative of campaigns, and so we're currently going through, trying to, how to say it, figure out the best way to go forward with the campaigns, what type of campaigns, and all with the goal of increasing emails.
Awesome. All right. Create a way to set the date range. Tom Trainer, I feel like you added a change here, and I just didn't review it yet.
There's a lot of change, but nothing that's urgent. It's just kind of a follow-up on your guys' feedback that I really appreciated. And if you guys take a peek at the link, it should include the updated user interface, but the actual coding that we need to get in place with that sort of API call hang-up is still sort of the TBD.
Okay, awesome. UI in place, coding to make it actually work is TBD. Are you going to get a chance to work on it this month, let's say?
Yeah, I definitely think I'm going to continue to push away on it. I'm not putting it to the top of the priority list for sure, but if you guys feel like it needs to be kicked up, let me know. I will definitely push it up higher. My own priority list, I mean, not BCard priority list.
Yeah, I guess like the reason why is it feels like the live side is a little bit broken right now, and that's why. But you know what? I'll follow up on this later today. What is it? August 9th, 2023. I'm just gonna say follow up on Taxman live issues. Yeah, so there were some issues on the live site that I was not able to actually get it to work, but and I was hoping that this release would just be like, oh, there's a new release coming. So I didn't want to leave the live site broken for too long. Anyways.
If you want to, just give me the feedback on those pieces that are not working out for you, and I'll take a look, see if there's a quick patch I can slipstream in. Otherwise, I can push this newer version so it gets done a little faster.
Okay, cool. I'll check on that today. I will try to check on it today. Knock on wood. Unfortunately, today seems like a very busy day, unfortunately, but we shall move forward. Optimism Retro PGF. We did talk to DAO stewards about this. Talk to DAO stewards. They are willing to write this for us. But we will need a working tax man for that. Actually, if we're able to do it, so we shall see. Safe DAO grants. Oops, let's get the state here. Safe DAO grants. We submitted an expression of interest. Got DAO stewards involved. They are trying to set up a meet with the new governance lead, Andre, for us. So that is going on.
And also, I would add, Jenga Jojo got in touch with me today. He said that Carlos from Gitcoin recommends that other Bankless DAO projects go ahead and apply for grants. So Bankless Card and any other projects that you guys might be working on, feel free to go and apply at Gitcoin.
Yeah, I feel like it's due really soon, and I think
so. Jenga's working on one for Bankless Card and global events. So. Yes, he is. Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yep.
Well, I don't have Jenga here.
He said I'll spin a OPMS and make an application.
Yep.
I don't know what OPMS means.
Let's apply. All right. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to put this closer to the top since I feel like it's like a 2-day turnaround or something on this. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. I'll leave it there. I assigned it to you because you're talking to Anna about it. Jenga Jojo is working on this global Amazing. All right. Thanks a lot. Create a demo app using a no-code solution. I don't know if AJ is working on this right now. Anyways, I'll put it into next up. Ajax, are you working on this? All right. BCard ambassadors, how are you doing on this, Renus?
Silence from our ambassadors currently. No update from Bankless Africa if they're interested or not. And I haven't heard from Fabian in a while, but I've created the landing page for him and I gave it to him, so we'll see how that works out.
All right, cool. Are you still actively working on this? Do we want me to put into next up? Would it ease your mind to work on? I feel like you're working on a lot of things, and I wonder if we can maybe help you focus by removing this off your plate. If you want to continue working on it, just let me know. But yeah,
I mean, it's going to be a system that's going to work on its own. So there's still some minor things to do to set it up, but if it works out, then I don't know. It's a background thought. I don't think about it that much anyway. So it's a very minor work in that part of BCard ambassadors.
okay, cool. Sounds good. Well, I'll put this along with the actually go ahead and put these even above SafeDo. Along with like the figuring out how much we're going to pay, all this stuff around the go-to-market strategy, customer journey maps is really important. I'll leave BCard ambassadors here. And then we have Helix.im. How are you doing on this, NF Thinker?
Kind of pretty much in the same spot as we were before. Brian L. and I had been speaking. I went to log into their site, and it seems like they rebranded to Glean.ai. But I didn't try logging in there because I wasn't totally sure. So, I've messaged Ashu, and hopefully we'll hear back from him today.
Awesome.
It's
the
same logo, just says Glean.ai.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. Glean.ai. All right, so we have our priorities list here. I'm not going to go through the rest of this list, but in general, this is kind of what I think the priority list is, like how everything has a distinct priority. So stuff at the top is more important, including the stuff up here, more important than the stuff below. But I wanted to get into our goals because, as I was stating, I was just kind of running around in my head last night and I wasn't able to kind of figure it out completely. It is very similar to what we talked about last week. That was very helpful. So I want to talk about it again. As you all know, our purpose at Bankless Card is to bridge the UX gap between Web3 and the real world. So how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to build easy-to-use tools to connect users with Web3 communities. There are lots of ways to bridge the UX gap between Web3 and the real world, but we, early on in the project, decided we really wanted to connect people with Web3 communities, aka DAOs. So how do we do that? Create a card program which allows Web3 communities to fundraise through community building. We know that this is a top-of-mind issue. We wanted to do this card in general because it threads the needle on a revenue strategy for us and solving a pain for our users. But how are we actually going to do that? Well, we need to get $2 million in funding. We know this through the investment advice that we got and through the financials that we did with our card issuing partners. How are we going to get that? Well, based on our pitch blitz, we need to launch a proof of concept. So this is kind of where we're at. And this is the difficult part because ultimately, we want to launch a proof of concept. And to do that, we need certain things. We need to have funding. We need to have spec. We need to have execution. We need to have a card issuing partner. We need to have all the legal entities. We need to have partnered 1 to 3 DAOs for this proof of concept. And we need to have our launch campaign for the proof of concept because we want to make sure that we are really pushing that communication. But also, when we look at, we need, for the funding that we need to launch a proof of concept, and this is where it kind of started to get a little bit, I started getting in my head a little bit. We need to get the funding to launch a proof of concept. We kind of said that we're going to act like we're doing a crowd fund And so what does that mean? Should we be actively working on this proof of concept, or should we be actively working on getting the funding needed to launch a proof of concept? They're very similar, but there are some key differences. If you look in this weekly all hands, like this idea of lag metrics and lead metrics as well, I started getting conflated between these two goals, launching a proof of concept and getting the funding that we needed to launch a proof of concept, because quite frankly as well, we're not going to launch a proof of concept likely in the next 3 months. Just looking at this list of stuff that we need to do, we need to ensure that we have our legal entities that we need, and we need 1 to 3 DAO partners and a launch campaign and a card issuing partner, and we need money. So it's probably not likely that we're going to get a proof of concept launched in the next couple months. So that's why I was like, maybe we can get the funding that we need in the next couple months. And I was wondering in my head, in terms of like the funding that we needed, again, what do we need? We need to understand how much money we need. We need to decide how we're going to get the money, grants, investment, or crowdfund. And we're going to act like we're running a crowdfund campaign. We're going to work on this in parallel to our other efforts. And in this case, I created like a project for the crowdfund campaign so we could start kind of working on this. But in terms of these goals and in terms of these like kind of top level metrics, I guess I'm wondering, I'm going to put it to the group here, what do you think makes sense? Do you think that we should be working towards this proof of concept, or do you think we should take a step down and look at it from the funding needed to launch a proof of concept? And that's what we're kind of like on a week-to-week basis continuing to revise. I see a bunch of people have unmuted, so why don't we start with Coffee Crusher, you're first on my list there.
Oh, GM. My apologies for being late. So it's kind of like the cart and the horse thing, right? Like we need the money to be able to do the proof of concept because there's things that we have to have for the POC. I see it as sort of in tandem. So I think the crowdfunding idea and we have to make a decision of how much money, like what's our bare minimum that we need to like use the crowdfunding to launch our POC. So if it just say it's $50,000, right? And that will get us our, all the things that we need to fix and we need to finalize. And then use the POC to get our $2 million. So it's kind of like step 1, step 2, step 3. But you do the crowdfunding, which is the objective to do the POC, and then while you're doing that crowdfunding, you're also like building out all the needs for the POC, like what we need to have before we can, go to the partners and say, here's our 3, and so forth.
Yeah, and so like I totally appreciate this. And then I guess like one of the questions that I had regarding that is that like, let's say, and this may be possible, let's say we were able to get like $50,000 from a grant. Then will we still run a crowdfund?
Oh, I mean, if it's a grant, like say Gitcoin, or if it's a crowdfund, either way, I think we have to make like whatever we call it, or whatever the funding source is we have to figure out what's our minimum amount that we need to do a POC. And if it's 50,000, if it's whatever it is, right? So we have to scope out what's our cost of what we need to complete and what that's going to come up to, and whatever that expense bill is. And it's like, okay, and then we go, okay, can we get that easily from Gitcoin because they're offering certain value type of grants, or is it going to be easier to do a crowdfunding? So I think you kind of got to step back a little bit and go, what is it where we need to actually, the minimum or whatever, the required amount that we need. And then we figure out what's the vehicle of how we get that initial, call it pre-seed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that's exactly, I guess, like earlier in this all-team projects as well, it wasn't even in this all-team projects, it was this figuring out how much we need. It's kind of like my key directive right now. And so it's why I created this 5-pager sales deck, and it's why I've been meeting with some of our partners as well. And our minimum that we need, and this is the baseline, is $50K. It's likely we're going to need more because that $50K is just for Gnosis Pay specifically. It's just to pay for the Gnosis Pay service. We will still need to pay for things like hosting and things like software licenses and all these other kinds of things. So if we have at least our baseline for Gnosis Pay, but I want to as well get a baseline for Transcard and some of these other US based providers as well. So ultimately, yes, I agree with you. And it makes me think that, okay, you know what? I'm gonna hold that thought because I saw Rainus and Anna Thinker also unmuted, and I'm wondering. I would love to gather their thoughts as well.
Yeah, so I don't think we should rule out crowdfunding at all. Grants could be what get us to the proof of concept, but crowdfunding is an opportunity for community members to, like get to state their alignment with the brand, and that could help us in a raise as well. So if we had 1,000 people who've helped fund through whatever means, by the time we do go to raise, we can say, yeah, not only do we have 10,000 users, but we have 1,000 people who've actually paid to be a part of this launch. Now, that does get into very, very, very strict and potentially dangerous legal territory, so that would have to be managed very carefully. But there are platforms out there that exist. We just have to make sure they're right for us.
Yeah, actually, there is Venture Club, which I think, and I think you maybe have been exposed to in Skylab. Venture Club handles a lot of that legal issue stuff for you. You just need one legal document, which is a safe, simple agreement for future equity, and which also implies that we need a US-based entity as well, because we're not going to be giving safes for our Panama corporation, for our Panama Foundation. That would go against the ethos of our DAO. So we won't be giving safes for that. But yes, in general.
Okay. Yeah, and then beyond that, the real way that we're going to launch globally and have billboards and have a team of developers and have a whole ecosystem that runs on Bankless Card. That vision, that Bankless Card vision that everybody wants one, that is going to more than likely require some VC investment. But we just need to double check that the mission, vision, values are all aligned between them and us and our community and our partner communities. So we just have to thread that needle as well.
Yes, absolutely. Any thoughts from you, Reyes?
I agree with everything mostly that NF mentioned. We have been having this conversation between the two of us as well. I would like to emphasize that I would want for us to move in a direction that helps us faster get an MVP out, and that can prove that we can make a product and that product works. How we get there, we'll see. But yeah, if my two banks would be that in any direction that we move towards an MVP and a working product.
Okay. So if that's the case, what I'm hearing from you, Reyes, is that you actually want to concentrate on this launch of proof of concept goal, and then like this kind of like funding that we need to launch a proof of concept, because like one of the things I was worried about is to launch a proof of concept and to run a crowdfunding campaign. These are both big pieces of work. I would say that it would be difficult for us to like focus on both. We would not be focused. We would kind of be spread thin a little bit, even though there is a lot of overlapping work for the two of them. It would be I think it might be too much for this group to take on, to do both launch a proof of concept and get the funding we need to launch a proof of concept, to launch a proof of concept and a crowdfund campaign. It feels like a lot, I guess. Does anyone have anything to say on that? Because I know we're going to have to do similar things, but it felt like... Anyways, sorry. Any thoughts before I get too down this rabbit hole in my head? Like the question is, should our metrics be based upon launching a proof of concept, or should our metrics be based upon doing a crowdfund?
Let me put it like this. If we're focusing on launching a proof of concept, we are looking for the first thing that we are going to sell is a product that the proof of concept. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If we are focusing on a crowdfund, we are going to keep selling an idea without anything under it yet. That's how I look at it. We can keep, like, currently we're not to be we're currently selling the idea of Bankless Card, of what's it going to be, what's it going to enable to people, but there's only so much that we can run with it without having a product under our ideas. Right now it's no problem, but I mean, if we keep running on just the idea, we might run out of runway. That's one might say. I don't know. I hope you got the idea.
No, it's a good point. It's a good point. Like the things that we need, like if we're focused on that POC, then we won't get overly focused on this crowdfund, which is more around selling an idea. Like the crowdfund is a means to get to the POC. The actual real goal is the POC. And this is exactly the kind of thought I was having yesterday. And I see Coffee Crusher, you're saying something very similar. Crowdfunding grant is the means to get a POC, Coffee Crusher. But like from a week-to-week basis, should we be tracking our work against launching a proof of concept? Or should we be tracking our work against launching a crowdfund campaign? I think, Reyes, you're saying that we should be tracking our work against launching a POC. But I'd love to hear... Actually, I'm kind of interested in what you have to say, Coffee Crusher, because I think that you're launching the POC. Okay. All right, good. Both of you are kind of like double checking the math that I was doing in my head yesterday, because I felt the same way. I felt exactly the same way. I'm like, we said we're going to go towards this crowdfund, and that has certain implications, but ultimately we're really going after this POC. And so that's really the question that was in my head yesterday that I was struggling with.
And really, it's the product, right? I view the crowdfunding or the grant or whatever it is the way to get to the product, and the product is the POC. Well, the initial product is the POC, because that way, like, and a thinker said, is that we have to have, it shows people using the product. We can do success stories. We can do, think of all the marketing quotes and things we can use on that POC. That will help with the fundraising for the $2 million. It's like, it sort of engulfs all of that. So I think it's what we're trying to accomplish. Like, what's our North Star is to launch that POC to get us to help us get our funding for $2 million.
Okay, awesome. And
I just wanted to. I just wanted to plus one on that and say that I think that having access to a POC, even if it's something simple enough as like a downloadable app that allows people to see sort of the flavor that we're working towards, that's only going to be a benefit during the crowdfund, because it allows people to get some hands-on access to actual work that we are putting in, showing them that we've already have the efforts, we already have sort of the vision and direction that we want to go towards, and it's not just an idea that we're pitching and looking for funding for. It's a little bit more concrete and a little bit further down the road. So I think it's just an advantage having it as a tool for the crowdfund as well.
All right, that's great. It gives me a lot of direction in terms of our lag and lead metrics. Well, I think that like the ones that I put here at the top, they're probably not quite right. Because they are really focused on the crowdfund, but I will change those. And I guess, like, I'm wondering, like, for the people who are kind of like workstream leads, there's an expectation that you will report on a metric as the project champion. I guess like my metric should be like % completion of the POC. So what I would do is I would take the work to launch a POC, break it down into smaller pieces of work which are assigned to others, and get a report up schedule to see how far along we are. So that's like kind of like that's like if our North Star metric is the POC, ultimately the completion of the POC as the project champion. That's kind of my goal. Does that make sense as my metric?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay. And then in terms of like the things that we need to do to launch this POC, well, I did take a bunch of time yesterday to look at some of the work that we need to do here. I guess like ultimately POC is spec'd is like part of this. Like, so like spec, I would say like, we could also do something like percent completion of POC spec work. And I would kind of want product to do this. So like Hazu, hopefully. Then we also have around I guess like our POC. The other things I was looking at were signing with a card issuing partner as ops lead, signing with card issuing partner as ops lead. This would be me, ops links. And so I need to figure out what is the metric for this. But in terms of like communication and partnerships, it feels like we need to have like a campaign for our POC or something else. I guess like we have the funding we need. Actually, this is even more important. We have the funding that we need. So let's remove this and say dollars needed for POC. Basically, ops links. This is more important than the thing I said earlier. So I will try to report on this. This could be grants, crowdfund, whatever. Does that make sense for that metric?
Yeah.
Okay. And so then I guess like the two left are NF Thinker and Rainus, who are working on our partnerships and our communication. Ultimately, I guess like what I was thinking in my head, and again, could definitely use your feedback on this, is that we have like some kind of launch campaign ready. We've kind of said like, 10,000 users is kind of like our back of the napkin calculation on our email list that we want. Like that's kind of one of our goals. But I guess like I'm wondering, is that the goal that you want? Like people on our email list, is that the goal that you want to align around? Rainus?
Yes, 10,000 emails still is.
Okay.
By the way, me and Coffee Grocer calculated. We need to be reaching 200 new emails per week to achieve 10,000 emails in 1 year. Currently, we are at average 30 to 50 emails per week. So we need to up that 4 times 10,000 in 1 year.
Awesome. Okay. So let's just say emails. We could launch before 10,000, right? Like let's just say number. Okay.
10,000 users. That's a good estimate.
And then ultimately, I guess like when I was thinking about this, when I was thinking about like your metric and a thinker, I was thinking like community signed up for what, right? Like ultimately what we want is for them to run a campaign for us within their DAO or something, or maybe if they do some sort of like grant for us, or they do some sort of like they've done something to show community alignment. And a thinker, I guess like I'm wondering, see you later, Coffee Crusher. I guess I'm wondering, what do you think that metric should be, and a thinker?
That is a very good question. We have a specific market that we're trying to launch for our initial partners for the proof of concept. So,
like in here, I have written down Sorry, go ahead.
What do you have written down?
We have partnered with 1 to 3 DAOs for the POC. And these are 3 DAOs who are ready to run an internal marketing campaign for us to make sure that proof of concept is going to be internally picked up by their groups.
Yeah, I would say 3 to 5 instead of 1 to 3. Just because, So, overall 3 to 5 DAOs who meet a certain criteria. And yes, they're signed up to run a program where they offer cards to their members for free in America. And it would be a virtual card.
Yeah. One question, what if we go with Gnosis Pay, who's not in America?
Then obviously that would be Europe. But that would require some sort of either grant funding to fund the costs involved, or some sort of subscription program.
We're gonna need that as well. Anyways, I see that we're a little bit over time, and I think you and I have an ops meet right after, so maybe we can continue discussing this at ops. I just want to thank everyone. I was running around in my head, and I brought this to the group, and it really helped. So thank you so much for helping me unpack my brain. It reduces my stress levels to be able to have a group that I can go and count on for help. So thank you so much. Thanks, everyone, for all the work that you're doing. I see that you're pushing us forward. I see that slowly we're moving ahead. The goal isn't speed for us. The goal is to be relentless, to be resilient. And I see that in all of you as we move forward. So thank you, everyone, for being here. You could be anywhere, and you're here with us. So I really appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
Here's Lynx.
Thanks very much, Lynx.
Thanks, Lynx.
Looking forward to seeing you next week.
Yes, you too. See you at the TO, Tom.